What up, everyone? I'm a creator. My name is JT. I'm a creator. I make educational content around the intersection of business and content. And then as a company, we teach organic strategy to a handful of different brands. The second thing that we do as a company is actually recruit creators to run brand accounts. Simplest way to think about it is, a lot of you guys probably know Jake from State Farm. We try to find the Jake from State Farm for companies and actually pair them as a recruiting firm so they can get hired in-house, and then we'll do the strategy with that creator who will be running the brand's account. Yeah, so like my journey into it was 2019. I think I started hearing Gary Vee yell about get on fucking TikTok, and so I started making content. I was doing fitness, health, and wellness on Instagram, got really over the perfectionism that was on that platform, and I was like, something else is going to come out. Everybody else is kind of over this too. TikTok came out. I started scrolling and fell in love with it and was like, I want to start posting on here. So I started posting fitness stuff, and that started kind of like taking off a little bit. And at that same time, there was a rise of TikTok houses. Charlie D'Amelio, who I'm sure a lot of you guys know, was in a house called Hype House. There was a lot of these like LA houses that were popping up. And I was like, okay, this is going to be a thing. We need to start a house, but let's do it all adults that have 9-to-5 jobs. So we put 10 adults in a house together in the middle of the pandemic. We called it Honey House. And the project was just like, can we build this into something and see where it goes? And in 60 days, we took it from 0 to 1 million people following us. And when that happened, companies started reaching out to me saying, hey, can you teach us how to do TikTok? It looks like you know what to do. The first one for me was a brand called Poppy. That was a little prebiotic soda. We ended up teaching them how to do it. And in one video that the founder just simply like talked into the camera with a green screen behind, they sold more cans of product than the day that they aired on Shark Tank. And so when that happened for me, that was like a real aha moment of, oh shit, this isn't just like an awareness thing where you can get like 1 million views or you can get a bunch of people from Belarus to see your fucking videos. You can actually like sell things, like people actually buy this. And so I was like, this is what I want to do. The real crux of it was you have to learn how to tell stories. The content that we were doing with Poppy, first it was us filming it and posting it on Poppy's account. It was like viral challenges. It was like things that we were getting traction with as a house with Honey House, but for them it didn't work. And so then we were like, what is it that people like can do that everybody will get actually and like care about? And we were like, tell your story. Tell it with like the very like raw, transparent, the real story of how it went down and how you got that deal. Because in my opinion, every company starts with some sort of a pain point. And I think that the audience wants to hear that. And so we really lean into storytelling. Like now, the way that we look at it is you have to tell, even in like an informational tip, there still is like some sort of storytelling arc to it. And so we really lean into storytelling because that's what I see working the best. So 2 different questions. First one, I think organic is important because I think you want some sort of presence. I look at the paid, and I look at also the influencer marketing, which is not on your own channel, as something that's really good for converting and actually like selling product. But it's a lot harder to build a real community that way. The thing that I focus on, that I think brands should focus on, is really trying to build a cult-like community of people that like really care about them and advocate for them in the real world. That doesn't mean that they see your video that's a paid video and they purchase the product and now they're an advocate. They have to actually like care about something and find value in something that you've given them. So the way that I look at the second question of like, what do we usually do first when we get in a company, is be like, who is the person that you're making this content for? If you're making content for everybody, you're making content for nobody. So you need to know like who is this on the other side of the screen. I think everybody, when they're doing their company launch, kind of goes through the marketing procedure of like, who's our target demo? I think anybody that's launching a company without doing that is probably not doing great. So you're doing that exercise. It should be the same thing for your content. You should be like, who am I making this video for? To like to the most detailed aspects that you can get. Like it starts with, they live in Texas. They listen to rock. But like down to like, what do they do for fun? What is their purpose in life? What are their struggles? Are they married? What do they do on the weekends? Where do they hang out in Texas? It should be super detailed and clear who you're making it for, because that lends to the next question, which is, how do we provide that person value? If we know that they struggle with maybe like their skin, or like they're somebody that's like going through a lot of changes in their life and like that's an issue for them, now we need to put out content all around that. And it can't just be just the product. It needs to be things that are tangential to the product too, that our customer, that ideal customer, is involved with, because then we can make a shit ton of content rather than just, it's really hard to make a video just about the single product every single day. And so I think you just got to think about who are we making this for, and how do we provide them value, and then that's when you start to get into the weeds of like the real creative. Well, now it's changed though. Now TikTok has introduced 2,000 characters in their fucking captions, which for me, I'm like, this is too long, bro. But now you can write a whole blog in the captions. I think that they're just testing things out and seeing what works, because if you haven't heard, I think it's 50+% of Gen Z uses TikTok to search rather than Google. And so you got to think that on their end, they see that and they're like, wait a minute, we need to like really go in on SEO and search if they're already doing that. So then they introduce a caption that is 2,000 characters so then they can really optimize. I don't see it being a thing right now where people are like really taking advantage of it, because still when you search on TikTok, if anybody were to search right now, in the actual like results that come up, there's no formula to it. It's not like the top viewed video and then the second top viewed video. It's like one video that's super popular and then like a random one. And so I just don't think it's clear enough how those rank. When that is clear, that completely changes and people will start building businesses about SEO. As a consumer on TikTok, I rarely read captions. The captions for me on TikTok should be embedded in the video. The first thing that I look at is the title. A written text that's somewhere in there, that's a little bit bigger. Second thing that I look at is the auto-generated captions, if they have that. So that's like the real like body of it. And then the last thing I look at is the caption. It's very like, for me, when I'm telling people what they should do with their captions, I look at it as just don't let it take away from the video. Just say like something that like adds a little bit to the video. It's a little bit less impactful than on Instagram. On Instagram, people look at it, then they look at the caption. And so what I usually do in my captions is write like a single sentence that just like alludes to what they're seeing, and then hashtags in the caption. Because hashtags are important, and I'd be happy to go into that. But yeah, that's the way that I look at captions on it. Yeah, I think it kind of depends on where you're at as a company. I think the wave that I see happening right now, which is why I've started doing this, is I just think that there's a lot of companies that end up charging a high ticket for running your account and doing all of the creative on it. I'm speaking organically. Do all of the creative. And I think that a lot of the companies out there can't spend that continually. And so it's a little bit cheaper for them to look and find a creator and bring that creator in-house. And now you get, not only do you cut your cost a little bit, because creators are charging, like the ones that we place end up charging $3,000 for 30 videos in a month. Honestly, I feel bad for them. I'm like, you should be charging way more than that. But this is what they choose. They're like, I feel good with this, $3,000, because it's an additional revenue stream for them, and they just get to make a video per day. And so on the brand, what you're getting is you're getting a creator that now builds momentum as they're with your company. In month 6, the content's going to be way better than month 1, because now they know everybody on the team, and they can go and make videos with Jim from accounting, who now they're bros, and they can hang. Whereas on month 1, whereas an agency, that person doesn't even know Jim, but on month 1, they're a little bit uncomfortable, and then as they build, it starts to become like somebody that's really building familiarity. So from an organic standpoint, I see it being something that companies should adopt, because I look at it as like some of the companies that we're doing it with are using it really specifically in, not only are they now the creator for their TikTok, but now they're Instagram, and now they're in YouTube. And now they're going to events, and now people are like, oh shit, that's that person that I saw on TikTok that now I know. So I think, in my opinion, I think creators should be looked at as 2 different strategies. The one strategy that's not on your account should be, these are the people that we want to advocate for us in the world, and their audience is impactful to us. And then on your own channel should be, how do we find somebody that becomes part of our team that can create on our behalf and advocate for us internally? That's kind of the way I look at it. Yeah, honestly, I think it's just come down to how you determine success. Like, for me, I would probably be like, oh, if I paid somebody for a post, yeah, this is amazing that it converts. But like even more amazing for me would be to see a lot of these people that follow that person now consuming and using the product. So I think it comes down to, like, I just think everybody really wants to build a community. Like, I think every company, as much as they say sales, they want people that really care about the things that they're actually talking about, and then will buy the product because they're providing them value. Wes used a perfect example of Liquid Death. Like, they're providing a fuck ton of entertainment to people. People like them. Now they want to become actual advocates for the brand, and they get mentioned organically. So for me, I would be like, the way that I hear people talking about us, the way that my team hears people talking about us in the streets, that would be like the way that I look at it as like, oh, this is a real success. The way that I look at storytelling is stories need to pull on emotions. So it needs to have some sort of emotional arc. When I went back and looked at like 150 videos of the things that I'm consuming and the things that went viral when we were in Honey House, and then the things that have worked for me, I started noticing every one of my videos has a hook, and then a setting, and then a challenge, and then a resolution, and then a call to action. I'll say it one more time so you guys can write this down. A hook, then a setting, then a challenge, then a resolution, and then a subtle call to action. But most people think that that call to action is the most important part. For organic, it needs to be subtle. It needs to be like less in your face. The last thing that you want people to feel like is that the video is an advertisement. The call to action is where people lose people because it becomes so in your face that they're just like, everything you just told me was just to get me to convert here at the end. So in a lot of my videos, I'm like, yo, if you like this shit, cool. I don't even say like, go click the link. I'm like, don't follow me, whatever. Something that is like less of a call to action that's blatant, but that emotional arc really pulls people in, and then they actually want to watch the video. And so in terms of like the way that you actually like create content continually, I think another thing that's super hard for trends is you have to wake up and you have to find the sound and then know how to do that sound and then go and film. That's an immediate track to burnout for anybody that's actually creating that content, because every single day they're having to wake up with no things planned. So a series is how we do it. And I write out 4 or 5 different series, like founder story I'm going to film on a Monday. A tip that somebody needs to know is a Tuesday. Wednesday, I'm going to do a vlog, and it's going to be a day in my life. Thursday, so on and so forth. And then you can get into a cadence of like how you're filming and how you're posting, and it can actually be manageable. And then you actually get into a flow of it, and the creative gets better. So that's the way that I manage the content calendar. Yeah, dude, it's literally just use whatever you're fastest with. All of them are so similar. I like messing around with a lot of different ones. I test out, especially mobile, because majority of my edits are done on my phone. Now I have Diego, who's somewhere in here, who does my edits himself, and he's editing on, there he is, and he's editing on Final Cut or Adobe Premiere. But like, majority of the stuff is just go on the App Store, type in video editor, download 5 of them, spend 30 minutes on each one, and one of them will be like, oh, this seems easy for me, and then use that. They're all so similar that I think you just need to pick one. The one that I use is called Video Leap, and then you can literally film in TikTok. You could film your videos in TikTok and edit them in TikTok. If you're not doing anything crazy, all of it can be done in there, and then you don't have to download anything else. So it doesn't matter. The answer is just do whatever you're the fastest with. It's hard for me to tell who's running paid, so it's hard for me to touch on that. Organically, I think I like Auntie Anne's content. Honestly, a lot of the people that I think are doing a really good job are smaller companies that are willing to play like a small company, that have their founder or their core members of their team that are doing it. There's a candy shop in Los Angeles called Logan's Candies, which has got like 3, 4, 5 million people. They film every day in their shop making candy. They fucking crush it. So Saki is a company that we were working with for a while. We launched their account. Now they're starting to get a bunch of traction, all organically, because they're an alcohol brand that can't advertise. But the common thread between all of them that I see is like they're doing some sort of series that I can articulate to a friend group, and they're doing it constantly, and it's like providing some sort of a value. So that's what I see working.